This episode of Her Design, Her Story is proudly supported by Royal Oak Floors, leaders in engineered oak flooring and long-standing partners of Australia's architecture and design community. Each board is shaped by virtues of oak, timeless, expressive, and perfect in its natural imperfection. Royal Oak Floors continues to pursue perfection so your space can tell its own story with confidence and style. See more at royaloakfloors.com.au.
Melanie Beynon is an architect whose work sits at the intersection of thoughtful design, material sensitivity, and a deep engagement with place. Known for her ability to balance clarity with complexity, Melanie approaches architecture as both a creative and social practice, one that responds not only to physical context, but also to the people and stories that inhabit it. Her projects reflect a careful attention to detail, an interest in how spaces are experienced over time, and a commitment to crafting environments that feel both purposeful and enduring. Working across a range of scales from residential to hospitality projects, Melanie brings a collaborative mindset to each project, often drawing on interdisciplinary perspectives to enrich the design process. Her work has been recognised for its quiet strength and refined restraint, demonstrating how architecture can be both expressive and grounded. Today we join Melanie in her office in High Street in Pierre as we explore her interior-based and architectural work experiences, her time abroad, and her evolving design philosophy as she navigates the helm of her own practice. Melanie, welcome to Her Design, Her Story. Thank you so much for having us in your beautiful office today. It's great to catch up with you.
Terrific fun. Thank you for coming by.
Beautiful space. I always love seeing where people work, and this is certainly, I love the amount of natural light and, wonderful space to be in. So thank you for having us. We've got a lot to talk about today. You've had an incredible career in Australia in interior design and architecture, but also time overseas. But I wanted to go back to the beginning of your journey and touch on those first study pathways for you, because I know you started in interior design. Could you talk me through a little bit around that first study journey?
Initially, I didn't get into interior design. When you recall finishing year 12 and where all of those moments that sort of feel like they're a sort of sliding door type moments. For some reason, I thought interior design was something I wanted to do. Creativity, I guess, was expressed through photography in high school, and probably that, and the benefits of art history study. But I didn't get the score that I needed, and I think at that point in RMIT preferred students that were mature age. So I had to regroup and work out what to do. I ended up doing a TAFE course at RMIT. It was called Furniture Technology, and the idea was they would train or educate young people into the furniture industry. There would be an element of the course that was practical, so we would get in and try to make furniture, design furniture, but also learn some business skills, so some general accounting, marketing.
It seems very forward thinking.
It was, and I think that was what's
missing.
They had missing, and obviously we all could do with more business skills, and when you balance both sides of the brain, I guess, from a creative point of view. So I did that for a year, and I also had some girlfriends I was making clothes with, and we had a lot of fun pattern making, being inspired by catwalks, and creating clothes that we used to sell sort of on commission. On a commission basis, even in Greville Street. So, that was a fun couple of years. And then to my father's disgrace, I did get into interior design the next year and decided to defer it. And he's like, I said, I will go, Dad. I want to do it. But for some reason this year I want to do more of this sort of furniture. It was a bit more of the furniture, but also the fashion. So I did then head into interior design sort of 2 years post high school, and just landed in this world. Like, finally, I know I'm in the right place, and learned what design, really was, the process that it is. It's not, I guess, a thing. It's a process, and learning the respect for research and so on that contributes to how things unfold, and being able to watch that growth. You can think of it now. Was fantastic. So so I did interior design. What was also pivotal at that particular point was my third year I spent as an exchange student in Germany. So I got to do a little bit of design, but more just life lessons. Living,
traveling,
in a city called Wiesbaden in Germany, and I didn't unfortunately learn too much language. It's just too easy to speak English, but it definitely planted a seed for wanting to travel and wanting to be overseas more and more. So eventually, did finish the interior design course. And I think lucky enough to land a role at that point at Pedalthorpe Interiors when it was just starting out with Robert Long and Cameron Harvey, and learned so much from the big office environment, which was fantastic.
I started my working life in bigger offices, and I sort of liked that lots of people you could spread your questions.
Definitely.
But also that realm of experience from, you weren't the only one starting, but there was also a huge amount of knowledge, wealth, and, experience in there. Office structure in the bigger offices.
And you realise then when you go into a smaller office that you can't hide.
I know, but I feel like it's
which was a good thing.
You come in a bit more confident perhaps in the process. I think a lot of it comes back to that process and communication and those sorts of
and the learning curve. It's huge. Those first few years.
Well, that's amazing. How long was the interior design course?
That was the 4-year course at RMIT. So that then I guess leading on from the experience overseas, I thought, I really want to take up the working holiday visa. So we were 29. My then boyfriend, who now husband, I just sort of had to keep chipping away at him because he's like, I'm here. I've just sort of bought a small apartment and a car. All right, maybe. So he thought, I'll put the car on the market, and if it's sold, then I guess, And people wanted it quick, smart. So he's like, I better take it off. We're not ready to go. So in 2000, I think it was at the end of 99 going into 2000, this things unfolded that we did move to London. And I guess that, that was pretty much the plan after that. Like, okay, we're here. We both got jobs. He ended up in a bit of a .com experience, which was a bit of fun. Ferraris all around kind of thing. Coming home and saying icy poles and so on, and then it all went. And then anyway, that was part of his journey. And I worked with David Collins along at different times. I know Matt Gibson had been in his office, and so when we bump into each other, we always have a few reminiscing to do. And so I guess we obviously in London you get that incredible exposure to craftsmanship, and it really just sowed the seed for what the potential really is.
Scale of projects, I imagine.
Project, yes, and the level of resolve that possibly wasn't evident so much in Australia, but it was always really interesting to me how influenced still that office therefore would have been representative of other offices that Australian design had even at that point.
Yeah.
They did admire what was being published in our magazines and so on. It was obviously before social media. So there was a healthy respect for what was happening here. So you got to the point there where, right, if you've been here for 3 years, do we stay? Do we go?
Yeah.
And we thought we would return. Prior to leaving, I had worked with Chris Connell, and there then was the opportunity to come back and see what the industry was up to.
Yeah.
And I caught up with him again and ended up working with him and for about the next sort of 10 years.
Oh, wow. And that was in the interior.
Yes. But what's so commendable and fabulous about his office is the exposure you have. That's, I guess, the thing about a smaller office is you get to experience all manner of activities that an office goes through, whether it's an interest you may have in marketing or, efficiency on time, trying to become quite transparent about, how a project's tracking and so on, to be able to improve the efficiencies of the office and to be able to have that input was terrific fun. So that, I guess, sowed a seed to want to maybe give it a go for myself.
Yeah.
So that coincided with, I guess, that, well, I'm going to try and have children, but how am I going to manage children and work life? I think, strangely, it's funny, now we're reminiscing here that things all culminated quite quickly.
Yeah.
The other exposure that I had and confidence and, I guess, desire to grow was the very fuzzy line between interior and architecture.
Yes.
And working alongside architects with Catherine Robson and Emma Templeton and Pip Batten, Felicity too. We all shared knowledge.
Was that at Piddlethorpe?
No, this was at Chris Connell.
Chris Connell, okay.
Yes. So it was very much a blended office.
Yeah.
And I became aware of another pathway to effectively display your competency as an architect. So I looked into that, which is facilitated by the AACA, the Architects Accreditation Council of Australia. And, you put in an application form. Yeah. You receive the brief, you get overwhelmed, you spend 6 months of your life with your head down and your bum up.
Yeah.
And you eat and you sleep and you have the support, ideally, of someone close to you. I don't advise doing it with children because you can't split yourself in that many parts. You work in isolation, so it's quite different to obviously uni where you collaborate. You have to draw people in and basically draw down on what you know and what you don't know. Like everything we do in our roles, what you don't know, you try and work out who to ask the right questions of, and then learn and teach yourself a lot about how to communicate. And when I say communicate, I mean you don't get to talk to anybody about your work, which is what we're all so used to.
Yeah.
Being able to stand up and represent and talk to your work. The work was represented on 5 panels and a very thick document.
Yeah.
And you send that off to Canva and bubble wrap and you wait
So sort of proving to them that you had the skills.
Correct.
It's an architectural capacity.
Correct. And then you wait, and then you either get a pass or a fail.
Oh, wow.
So that was...
do they still offer that both ways?
Correct. Yeah, they do. And I guess I've always encouraged people to have a go. And the TAMA that works with me and has done so for quite some time, perhaps I take it for granted, but I see that we all need or want to grow, and interiors offers you a grounding, but then there's just so many complexities that we know exist within our built environment, and we learn a lot of things. We learn more than we realise, and we probably are therefore lucky that there is this opportunity to prove to yourself and therefore to others, because I guess most of the time that's what we're trying to do, build our confidence, put ourselves forward. We learn about, even as interior designers, you learn about contracts, you learn about people, you learn about managing fee proposals, all of those things, which all contribute. So why not go out and consolidate that by trying out this process. The process is the first to basically, it's the concept. It's basically bringing a project up to almost town planning. It's a complex project, so it's not an interior, or even it is a building. But the way our office has always worked is that we see it as a consolidated project. It's interiors and it's architecture and it's planning permits, it's building permits, it's people being able to learn and under the guidance of the team that's here to be able to grow. And so that then facilitates the opportunity when you're successful to be able to register if that's important to you.
Yeah, so when you pass that process, I'm interested because I've come the other way around.
Yes.
But I think when you come through architecture and sort of shift into the interiors, it's I guess uncommon to go back and do that level of study for interior design. These sort of, I guess, not that the registration's quite different. I could still register as an interior designer based off the experiences I'd had working through that combination of architecture. So with that, once you get that pass, are you then open to filling out that registration process?
Because you're effectively a graduate architect
of architecture.
And so then you go through the possibly more familiar process of completing your logbook of your hours and then doing the registration exam.
Yes.
So, that's where it sort of left me like, oh, okay, I'm going to do some more now.
I know.
But I think it just dawns on you that life is about continual learning, and the more you can...
self-checks, I think, which is...
Yes.
Do I know this? Actually, I do. Or this is where the gaps are.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. So that was me about 2009, completing that registration.
Yeah, were you still working with Chris Connell at
that point? At that point, so I had a bit of a crazy year in 2008. My father died, and I wanted, you're balancing in two hands, I guess, that element of grief. But I saw this opportunity of working to be able to work through, I guess, things you're dealing with. I think it was cathartic. So then I went on to have a child. So that all happened quite quickly. And then while I was concluding with Chris Connell, knowing that at that point it would be tricky to just balance children and work. Yeah. I'd stepped away and I thought I will try and do the registration. So I managed to do that at that point when my son was fairly young, very young. Well, he was a good sleeper. Yeah. Can't say that about everyone. And then sort of that moved me through into thinking, okay, well, I want to keep working. I want to keep, working out how I can contribute, how I can use the skills. I love working. I love the industry. So I decided to start setting up my own business so that we could then manage myself and my clients within my own time.
Yeah.
Because we get stuff done. I've proven that. We've proven that to ourselves as women, that we can get it done.
Absolutely.
And we don't let people down because that's not how we're wired.
And sometimes almost I've seen with friends super efficiency. I think when you know you can't sit around till 9:30 at night, you know, like I remember we'd go out for lunch or there was a bit of chatting. We're working hard. But, you know, there was that sort of sociability factor, which I guess I'm just a little bit more selective with that now. Yeah.
Yes.
Like I can work to a deadline more efficiently.
Yes. And I think that comes with time too, doesn't it? You know?
And also if you're sort of controlling the project to a point, you can make sure that approval process, or, you know, you're not waiting to check in with a bigger team. It can be a little bit more efficient as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So at the time you had a child registered, was that then the point where you started getting some architectural, I guess, based projects coming your way?
No.
Just took the leap.
No, because it was actually, I think, I don't know, you can't really tell where your projects necessarily come from.
Yeah.
But maybe because I wasn't wearing the banner of architect, maybe it was a little bit of, I still, I guess, feel more confident in the interiors zone, that it took a while before architectural projects emerged.
So more an interior start.
Yeah, for sure. And then eventually, yes, it's probably actually to a degree. I mean, there's projects like Willow that were heavily architectural because all we left was the facade, which was the very ambitious wellness project on High Street in Armidale.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
But if you walked in there, you would never realise. You could just think it was an interior, but it was a very, very complex architectural exercise, because we really did take everything out and try and work within a very tight program, complex program within that footprint. So there's been a number of projects like that where, yes, but you can't really stand back and take a photograph of the architecture. So you didn't really have the ability to sort of sell that idea.
Yeah.
So it's really only been then in the last maybe 2 years that I've had photographs, perhaps, if that's how you represent architecture, to be able to say, yeah, that's that. So yeah. That's all right.
Sides of it, yeah. It's. I find that speaking to a lot of people about that marketing process as well, it can be difficult. It's often, I know some of the offices I worked in, you'd sometimes have caveats with clients that they didn't want their project photographed, which you have to respect, you know, that privacy factor, or it's taken a while for the furniture and the artwork and all those important components to come together as well. It can be a little bit more timely. A little bit challenging, probably like a landscape project.
Yes, there's a lot.
Takes a while to establish.
Yes.
So when you started your business, obviously moving more into that architectural space, if we step forward to today, could you talk me through a little bit around the structure of your office at the moment?
The structure of the office is we're a tight team.
Yeah.
We sort of fluctuate between sort of 3, and we've been up to 6.
Yeah.
And we try to, I believe we need each person, like full-time person, to be working on at least 4 projects of various scales and at various points.
Yeah.
So that sort of gives me a bit of a gauge on where we sit, in terms of how many people we like to have around us. I have an office on High Street in Pierre, which was a sort of a calculated move to be able to have an opportunity to effectively not pay somebody else's super and pay the business for a rent to our super in that sense, so that you're sort of making the best of the opportunities you have financially. And we also have an office space here where we have share space. So we love to be able to have others around, not just, this is, I think we all have our egos kind of massaged out if we ever had one in the first place. Yeah. So to be able to have other people come and work from here is terrific, and it just keeps it more interesting, and it allows for all of us who work in it, either by ourselves or in small groups, to come and hang out. Yes.
No, it's a great space, and I think a wonderful street frontage as well.
Yes, engaging. I guess when I was looking at some of the ideas that you were putting forward, and we were thinking about things that kind of really get your goat, one thing that does is facades and shop fronts that are decommissioned, have either curtains in them or films on the window, and they don't engage with the street. And particularly being where we are, being close to Chapel Street, and sort of living through this particularly awkward time for Chapel Street, I, as best possible, wanted to push back on the street and be open to the street. I guess we're lucky we've got a big planter in the front, and some interesting things do happen between the planter and us sometimes. I'm like, okay, we're just here. You can't quite see us, but that's pretty amusing. And then, so the idea was that we feel comfortable being, we don't feel exposed, but we haven't got curtains and films on the window. We're offering something back to the street. We wanted to feel like this little space that we're sitting in now. I guess we've always trying to come up with new ideas to keep the brain ticking over and engaged, but this is in its infancy as being a small gallery space. Yeah. The idea being that we can have art on the wall, potentially have various artists coming through, and it's illuminated at night. So it's like, so there's this opportunity to come and see art on these walls. Yeah. But there's also the opportunity to offer something back at night as well. So there's a few different things going on.
It's a great location. Coming back to your office structure quickly, I was just interested to know the sort of breakdown of your staff. Do you have a mixture of interior designers and architects?
Yes. So there's very much a blend of
working hand in hand. Yeah.
And more that they both do both.
Yeah.
So Tama took the big step last year and did the course I outlined before and was successful.
Oh, wonderful.
This was very exciting. It was a massive effort, and I'm just looking at my son who's doing year 11 at the moment, and you can't tell someone that age that it will all be worthwhile when they're going through a bit of pain. But it's definitely, she was successful, and we all thought she would be, but you don't necessarily think so at the time. So that's tremendous kudos that she's done that. So there was a great experience last year being able to at best support her, and also Bron Upfield from Hassel, who was also doing the course as well. So they had an opportunity to collaborate to a point, because it's a very solo effort, and see interior designers then take what they know, expand on it, and present themselves. And be successful. Yeah, ideally, it's not. Don't get me. You can equally
challenging. Yeah. Resilience building.
That's right, for sure.
I also wanted to touch on. We were talking before about that shift of, for women and children and life and work balance. I get a sense your workplace, that's really important to you, that idea of well-being and nurturing and a little bit of flexibility. Is that something that's quite at the core of?
Definitely. Yeah, I think you can only prove via your own efforts that we get it done. And I guess with a tight structure, we don't have loads of internal meetings, or we have a few external meetings, and of course plenty of client meetings, but where we've worked out that we don't need to spend long hours doing things. I mean, I do because I'm a crazy person, but I don't necessarily, that doesn't seem to knock on to the people that work with me.
Yeah. So that work-life.
Yes. Yes. I love people to come to the office because you kind of create a space where you want to be around people, and I must enjoy that as opposed to ducking off home. But if people need to do it for whatever reason and it's because it's perhaps efficient, then that works as well.
Yeah. And sometimes in a design environment, I find working around other people and samples and, ideas is always great to be.
I found COVID challenging. I think we were very lucky as an industry because we got to leave the house and because we were essential.
Yes.
But the thing that you missed, being in the same space and being able to talk to one another and guide. And I had, I had girls working with me that were trying to almost learn, that was challenging. So that's why you'd rather be side by side and be able to guide one another, not be at screen's length.
Yeah, yeah. Coming back to, I think this is a really beautiful space we're in at the moment with some fantastic artwork on the walls. We were talking before about Design Week. I know you're opening your office in collaboration with some designers. Can you talk me through a little bit around what your offering for Design Week is going to look like?
I think off the back of that idea that I'm very much part of this community in Paran, have been for many, many years, involved in the local schools and football clubs and so on. So the more I feel like I get to enjoy about that, the more I'd like to sort of also give back, and also within the design community. So I wanted to work with people who I'm familiar with, have known for a while, work with Tom Blatchford on a lot of our photography, work with Daniel Barbera. We used to share a workplace with Chris Connell. So they're both going to exhibit here using mediums that we're not necessarily familiar with them for.
Oh, amazing.
Daniel's working with slumped glass, which has probably been seen a little bit before, but this is quite raw and progress oriented work.
Yeah.
And Tom, as we know, has created some pretty incredible successful imagery through AI, and his command of AI is now taking into some objects. So he's going to bring that next Friday. We're going to catch up and work out how to use the space to do that, and then see what else we need to layer in, get them to come down and talk. And from the 14th of May to the 24th, amongst all the other activities that's
it's really exciting. Melbourne Design Week. I think it's going strength to strength, and certainly off the back of the art fair as well. I felt like that was really dynamic this year.
Yes,
very exciting.
It is great, isn't it, when certain like Den Fair and the like, that everything has its course to run, and it just keeps building and building. Yeah, and it's terrific.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, a lot of talent to celebrate. I did want to touch on obviously with work and evolving projects and staying really motivated in the work that we're doing. Inspiration is really key to keeping us, I guess, motivated in what we're doing. Are there any key sources of inspiration for you? Is it a building process, or are there any things you like to build into your schedule which really help you stay engaged in the new projects you're working on? Let me think. It'd be a tricky question.
It can be a tricky question because I think we're always taking things in, and I think you become predisposed to that, from even those times when you thought you wanted to be interior designer, you used to touch everything, and I guess we still do that, but we don't necessarily realise it until someone gives us that weird look. And then, it could just be watching television and seeing some beautifully shot movie or short series that you're watching of an evening. And you see a detail. I saw this incredible blue on TV last night. I'm like, how can I nail that blue? And it could have been because of the yellow it was sitting next to. It was just, quite a striking colour. And it might be just not doing it, or trying not to do something, being out walking, or taking something in nature, clearing your head. Yeah, or it could be that energy that you have when you get a new brief from a potential client and you're just lying in bed, just imagining what that space could be like. And sometimes those visions are quite potent, and they do sit with you, and then you get that opportunity to come in. And we do like to build models in, physical white card models, and obviously
I saw some beautiful models out there. That was never my fault.
They're not particularly good, but they are challenging.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's always sort of the white card models that we evolved through Revit and the various tools that we have available to us. I don't know, we've started looking at maybe where there's some useful tools other than obviously writing and drawing down information from AI, but that hasn't really emerged for us yet. I'm sure it's right around the corner. It's kind of whack us in the face, but we'll see.
Yeah. Change of process. I know we've obviously touched on a little bit around children and workplace, but you have no doubt a busy life outside work. You have 2 children who are teenagers. Is that, they've obviously known, you've obviously been working since they were born. Is that just quite an integral part of your routine now?
It very much is. I don't really seem to need me anymore, so that must have done something right. But it's something about being female and being needed. So there's they run their lives up and down High Street as much as I do, and they're in their mid teenage years, so it's sort of getting to the pointy end, and they love sport, so we spend a lot of time with them, which I love. They're terrific guy and member.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing and wonderful, I think, for them to see that evolution.
I think so. Yeah, we were talking before about growing up with parents. They've got one parent that has their own business and one parent that doesn't, and so they don't realise it, but they do have a bit of a contrast there.
Yeah. No.
So they do occasionally ask me an insightful question, and I try to answer them in the best possible way about running your own business. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think qualities like resilience we were talking about, and, that confidence, I think it's quite incredible. It probably leads me to my next question, which can always be a bit of a tricky one, but are there any personal attributes that you feel you possess which have really helped you? I think that's quite an incredible, milestone taking that leap into architecture. It's obviously not an easy one. And then stepping out and opening your own business. Was it that passion of wanting to create your own journey that really drove you, or how did?
I think when you can see in the potential of those around you, you look then perhaps at yourself and you think, could I do that? And if I could, what would I need to do in order to give myself the confidence to put myself out there as that person, whether it's an architect. I guess you fall into being a parent and then you just try and wing it as best possible. So do you remember I don't know, you might have a circumstance where a teacher or someone in your life might have said something about you that was maybe negative, and you take that and you use that as fire in the belly.
Yes.
So that resilience, I guess, that's associated with radio, I don't think you'd be able to do architecture that way. Well, maybe I'll just
prove you wrong. Yeah.
So there's a bit of that, and then I guess so there's that, and I think and then there's the reward for the hard work that I'm a bit maybe addicted to. That you put some effort into something and then you get a result. So that I can sort of see that as a driver.
Yeah.
I'm just not very good at sitting still. Just want to keep feeding the brain.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's inspiring. Keeps us busy.
Yeah.
Before we wrap today, it's time for her edit. So I'm going to ask you some quick questions before we wrap the interview. I wanted to start with the first design-related purchase you ever made, like a piece of furniture and artwork. Can you remember?
I was trying to nail that one. I think when you think back to in your 20s and your funds are what they are, and I do remember being in in Verona and deciding, I'm going to buy that Alessi pepper grinder, with the iconic one with the blue handles, which we still use, paired with the Peugeot sort of salt grinder because it kind of worked out. The shaker was no good. So that was probably a fairly early purchase.
Yeah.
And then it was fortunate enough to, well, you need a sofa, don't you?
Yeah. Always
need a sofa. So we did, I guess, having the benefits of having a compact house is you don't need too many pieces of furniture. So we did purchase the Maralunga sofa a couple of years ago. Yeah. Yes. Now making sure that cat stays away from it.
Absolutely. No scratch posts there. Any items you're currently coveting?
A pair of the Techno Gym. Is it Techno Gym hand weights?
Oh, the really stylish.
Basic.
Oh, yep. Quick's feeding me those on Instagram. I think it's a sign. Yeah.
Yeah, I do work out at home as opposed to a gym because I just cannot make appointments. So I thought you deserve it.
Sensible purchase.
And they're just so simple. It's just chrome.
Yeah.
Simple hand weights with no silly colourful bits they're great.
I know. They look much better than the rebel ones I've ever for it. Next travel destination, actual or aspirational?
So travel's going to be interesting over the next while, isn't it? However, maybe closer to home, the kids are half New Zealand.
Yep.
They've never been.
Oh, wow.
So that's ideally this Christmas. I know. You can tell.
Oh, beautiful.
So I guess we were waiting. I guess COVID got in the way, but there's always so many wonderful places to go and visit and explore. And they are now old enough to really get in and do explore nature.
Yeah.
As opposed to be tagging along and necessarily whinging. So and they're great mountain bikers. So I think there'll be some outdoor activities in NZ over Christmas. So my husband's from New Zealand, but he came here when he was 10. So and find out whether they feel like they've come home or not.
It's very beautiful.
It's stunning.
Time. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I think sometimes those are occasions that are quite close to home as well. You think, I'll get there.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Parts of Australia as
well. Yes, that's our little mini trip in the middle of the year to Uluru. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I know lots of beautiful places to go. Design faux pas you love or love to hate?
Design faux pas. I guess sometimes that critical eye drops in and you're like, what's bothering me about that? And it often is something you're seeing that's just over-designed. It's like, tear it back. I can't help sort of staying back in the take one thing away. You know, I guess inherently maybe a minimalist or something within that realm that attention to detail and use of material is always what sings loudest to me. So something that's been pushed too far for the sake of it kind of gets an.
I think sometimes having that ability to know when enough is enough is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Favourite creative icon, living or legend? I know that can be a tricky one.
I think off the back of that, it's always when you're in doubt, think of those, Portuguese and, where it's Monet or Caesar, the architects that you sort of pilgrimage to see when you're overseas, when didn't have small people way back to go on architecture tours.
They seem so great having all that time. And final question, if your star was a celebrity, who would it be?
I wrote, I think, a few words because I think it's evolving a little bit as I get a bit older, and then every day I walk, so you open your wardrobe and you go, what am I going to be today? What am I going to wear? What colour? And it could be the weather. It's like, no, I'm not wearing black today because I want to be bright and colourful and I want to be that person.
Black.
Correct. So there's that element, and then there's the sort of classic lines that you might wear, and then there's some crazy, colourful dress you might want to wear. So I couldn't really give you a straight answer on that.
No, that's fair.
But it does come back to fashion. I love getting dressed. I love trying to put an outfit together.
Yeah.
Still, and then there is a very deep archive.
Yeah. Sounds exciting.
No, I don't know about that. Just.
No, I like that. Very individual. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today, Melanie. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.